I can get in. Show someone that you can get access to some piece of data, and then try and do it again. Because you want to see multiple ways in. You don't want to just see one way in, right? You want to try and get the whole canvas that you can when you're doing any of that testing. When you're looking at attacking corporate environments, obviously you can have different types of attacks, right? So you can have the whole external attack, right? If I'm going to touch your web app externally, but I can also do it internally. I can do it directly by actually putting traffic against it, or I can do it indirectly by monitoring traffic to it and being passive. Right? I can look at how it's interacting in proxy and do things like that that aren't going to get picked up. So I think also in a lot of different types of attacks, you'll see that people will only choose one venue for attack. Right? I am only going from the outside to your external box that sits on the web, and my scope is so narrow, it's just www in this little box underneath it, even though it has a database and 5 other things that connect to it on the outside, just this little windowed app, and only touch it from the outside and only run a web attack against it. How does that show you anything of security? I mean, really, how does it really show that app is secure? I mean, I know when Tom was just talking, he was talking about blended approaches, right? Of being able to do automated code analysis and manual review and testing and being able to look at scanners and take all of those and put it together. Well, then you're looking at multiple venues, right? You have an external direct, you have external indirect, you have internal indirect, you have internal and direct testing. So now you can actually get a true view of what's going on in that environment. Now that could be for a single application, or that could be for the entire company. Does that make sense? Things like being able to do environment manipulation. So if I wanted to get into a small office that was inside of a large office building, I could pull the fire alarm, cause chaos, incite a riot, randomly just run through shooting a gun off. I mean, you can do all sorts of really exotic stuff to move people and get them out of your way when you are focused in what you're doing and attacking. You can do the same thing. I mean, you know, you consider more exotic attacks like you can send out mailers, and instead of doing a DDoS, you just send out like a free go to this website type thing to 1 billion people, and then they DOS the site for you, just with real traffic. So what I want to talk about now is a little bit of the tools, right? And it's all stuff that you guys have probably seen. So some online tools. Have any of you guys heard of Maltego before? So it's really, really neat. Rolof's a good friend of mine, and we work together quite a bit. And that tool does some pretty wild stuff. Being able to run transforms against everything from, you know, like you see Tom Brennan's name, and all the different sites that he's linked to, and all of his different email addresses, whether it's personal or professional. And as you start going down the tree, there's phone numbers, how he links to OWASP, there's ways that he's listed on domains, there's addresses, physical locations, there's net blocks that either have his name that's attached to it or other things. So as you start looking through these, you can put in API keys. You can go and get a Technorati API key if you have the old Google API keys, which I still hold on to mine. You can put those in there, and you can start querying. Everything's really, really fast, and you can make big logical maps of how this stuff puts together. I feel like sexy now. That's great. I'd like to do a show.
Please don't.
Yeah, whatever you say. But this is a great place to consolidate and string information because you will mine tons of information this way, and you can start putting together a graphical view of how that information interacts. So maybe when I'm looking at an application or I'm looking at a physical environment, I can start taking all the names of the people that I've been able to find in that environment. I can start taking phrases like, you know, Com Plus. I can take phrases like JTE. I can take all these different types of code phrases. I can put all their names together, and I can start figuring out who is the developer of this application, right? How much information do you think you could get if you could find out who the developer of a specific application that you're testing is? How many times do you think that they've put little bug fixes out there to the world, and how many times has it always been the application that they're working on right then? You'll probably find more backdoors to applications that way than you will ever testing it. Make sense? What's that? Well, yeah, you'll know what desk to go to when you walk in. MetaGoofil, have you guys played with that? So while you're in Multigo, you can also pull out a whole bunch of documents that are related to that. So after you find your little coder's name, you can go out and look for documents that he or she may have created, and then open up those documents and try and extract the metadata from it. 9 times out of 10, you'll find their username. Like 2 times out of 10, you'll find their password in it. So again, oh yeah, I mean, you'll find every edit, you'll find who they stole the document from so they can make a pretty deliverable for their boss and what that old document said. You'll probably end up getting 3 or 4 different types of client informations that could lead you to rooting an app or rooting the environment without ever touching them. And this is all just because you're doing solid information gathering. There's a whole bunch of other online tools if you want to start assessing the outside of the environment and assessing what kind of data is out there. Cleaves is awesome to do external profiling. All these are great just because when you look at it, if it's not your box doing it, then it's a hell of a lot less to have the IDS and ADS pick up on. So central ops, network profiling, Robotex is kind of an old version of where central ops was for a while and ServerSniff is. ServerSniff is awesome because it does a lot of different profiling on the apps that are way better than fingerprinting because it takes history over time and can see any updates that have happened, can tell you when it went down, when it came back up. Netcraft, you guys are used in domain tools, and my favorite is MySpace, Friendster, and Twitter. Because if I have your developer's name, I can find out everything about their life and attack them. Yes. Well, you can use that. You can also use everything that they've been posting to make word lists because you know that the developer's access is going to be great to have, and being able to look a little bit closer into their personal life will give you a hell of a brute force dictionary. It's useless to run 4 million passwords when you only probably have to run 5,000 and do a couple transforms against it. When you go on-site, now in this, some of the testing, again, well, all right, we can't get the server from the outside, let's get it from the inside. Bootroot's great, SysRack vulnerability. Have you guys ever used that? If you haven't, it's a real fun CD. You just pop it in, brings you right to root, you just hit the SysRack key. So there's real easy ways to get root that way. If that doesn't work, Off-Crack Live, wonderful way to let an environment show you what passwords are in it. It's pretty easy to dump a CD and let it auto run or reboot the CD and let that start going because it'll work automatically. You can get 10 of them, put them in your pocket, walk through a row of developers when they're at lunch, and all of a sudden you're going to have all of the developer information. You're going to have all of their passwords, and most likely they have remote access to that box. You guys, I'm sure, have used Helix and Backtrack before. Again, huge amounts of toolkits that you guys have also been talking about, and lots of these different things. A lot of developers are here. Great way to provide centralized utilities. I have a USB key that is also a hidden camera, that is also a stereo microphone, that also has all of my images that are built on it. That's all I need when I walk into an environment. That's it. I will never, ever need anything else. I don't need a machine because I'll find one that works good. That's another agent that I made. We'll talk about that too.